भोग प्रमाद थे पर मन शांति का था ध्यास। इसी भोगी जिंदगी में एक दिन गौतम चले, तीन दृश्य दिखे उन्हें।
You need to understand this. What you call as myself right now is a huge volume of memory. Your body is the way it is simply because of the genetic memory that it carries. You have your mother's nose, your father's complexion and something else, your grandfather's something else, simply because what you call as your body is a complex amalgamation of memory. A very ancient memory lives in your body. What you call as my mind is 100% memory right now. So you are a huge heap of memory in many ways. And memory goes into you in different ways. Through all the five senses you gather memory. What you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch. Of all these five different ways of gathering memory, what you see and what you touch are the deepest forms of memory. Especially what you touch creates a certain level of memory in the system. So when you say a spouse, you have touched, and there is a certain level of memory. Now, your divorce means in some way you're trying to rip that memory off. And that's not going to be easy for various reasons. But at the same time, the very fact that you're going through your divorce means you want to be finished with that memory in some way. Maybe not erase that memory, but someone who was a spouse, someone who was in many ways a part of your life, slowly, for whatever reason, you have begun to experience them as a baggage that you're unwilling to carry. So, you want to keep the baggage aside, but you find the baggage is not something that you voluntarily carry, it is something that compulsively sticks to you. So when whatever sticks to you compulsively, if you try to rip it off, there will be pain. See if you can get rid of your mother from your system. You will see it's impossible. So similarly, memory has built up about your spouse, you can't just get rid of it just like that. If you do it, even mentally, psychologically, if you're equipped to do it, you will still see the whole system will go through a certain level of suffering invariably. Even if emotionally, psychologically you're in a balanced state that you can deal with it, the system will go through a certain process. You will see that especially when you are taken away from your spouse, either through divorce or death, you will see the memory within your system plays up much more strongly when they're not here. Particularly when death happens, you will see the memory of your spouse works in every cell in your body, if you have lived long enough together. It is not just an emotional and psychological process, it is a very physical process. So divorce is a voluntary death. You have decided to kill something that is a part of you in some way. It is because of this reason that having this understanding of the existence and the way the system functions, that they always told you, till death do you apart, you will not part. Because there is a physical memory about this, and the body doesn't have the balance of the mind. The mind can decide and turn around, but the body cannot turn around. The more memory you build into it, the more confused it becomes. So one type of memory, body handles it much better. Now that you've chosen to divorce for whatever reasons, which I don't want to delve into, if it could be avoided, that would be best. But for some reason, you have come to that situation where this has to happen. You need to understand this, that divorce essentially means you have chosen to kill something which is a part of you, because what you call as myself is just a certain volume of memory. Now, to how to conduct this gracefully. Most people think the best way to conduct a divorce is immediately jump into another relationship and another relationship of the same kind. No, you will cause much more struggle and turmoil within the system by doing that. It's extremely important the body has enough time to work out the memory. The body has enough time to keep the memory at a certain distance. Otherwise, you will render yourself to a space where to make yourself peaceful and joyful will become an extremely hard thing to do in your life. So conducting this process gracefully and well is important, as it is important to conduct every aspect of your life gracefully and well. Now, two people who have shared their emotion, their body, their sensations and their living spaces. Ripping it apart is because two memories have merged in many ways. Ripping it apart is almost like tearing yourself apart. Even though you might have begun to almost come to a place where you can't stand the person anymore, still it hurts. Simply because you are trying to rip out a memory which is you, because you are a bundle of memory. If one does the necessary spiritual sadhana, if one does sufficient inner work to establish these energies, which is yourself, you're only divorcing your spouse, you need not divorce yourself. But you need to understand this, you have already divorced yourself, you're quite divorced from your own self. Your existence has been nurtured by making a bond, a partnership or a bondage, depending upon how you conducted this, to make yourself feel whole in some way. Most partnerships of this nature are made because by yourself you would feel insufficient, incomplete, but that's not how life is. This is a complete life process by itself. It does not need any assistance from outside. So now that you come to such a situation, it is time to turn inward and see. It is time that you find the completeness of what this life is. It is time you discover that this being is a complete being. It does not need any external assistance to be the way it is. To conduct our life in a society, we may need… we are interdependent, but the fundamental existence of this, the balance of what this is, the space of what this is, the possibility of what this is a complete process by itself. Our interdependence is only according to our external requirements, but our inner existence is complete by itself. You are divorcing your spouse, which is bad enough. Do not divorce yourself from yourself.
My name is Azim. I am a first year student pursuing BCom honors. So basically we all know that at this age we get into a relationship, then we broke up. So there was one of my friend recently who broke up, and he was like, he asked me to give him some advice on how to move on and how to cope up with things. So being of the same age, I cannot advise him because I don't know how to move on. So my question is that how to move on after that situation.
Well, somebody else has moved on. Even if you stay in the same place, distance will happen. See, let us understand this in terms of life, not in terms of trend, not in terms of morality, not in terms of right and wrong, but in terms of life. When I say in terms of life, Azim, do you remember how your great, 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 great 10 generations ago, how your grandfather looked like?
No.
No. But his nose is sitting on your face, yes or no? Yes.
Yes.
So is it true that your body has a tremendous amount of memory?
Yes.
This memory is on many different levels. There is an evolutionary memory, there is genetic memory, there is a karmic memory, there are conscious levels of memory and unconscious levels of memories, articulate and inarticulate levels of memories. But if your great-grandfather's nose has to sit on your face, obviously your body is carrying a very complex mechanism of memory, isn't it?
Yes.
So this body, if it is capable of such a complex sense of memory, you think it is not gathering memory with whatever you touch and feel and relate with? You think so or no?
Yes.
It does. So it is gathering an enormous amount of memory. This is how you know. See, how to go up the steps, how to go down the steps, it looks very simple. But it's not simple, it's very complex. Your body has to remember, otherwise it cannot go up and go down so simply. Well, today the sports people are talking about muscle memory, building memory into their system so that the sport can be executed at a certain level of efficiency. So this is not only for sport, this is not only for specific activity. Every day you are imbibing so much memory, and this memory, if there is a certain kind of congruence to this memory, if there's a certain kind of cohesiveness to this memory will become productive. If there is a certain level of chaos to this memory, then you may know everything, but this memory will work against you because it's contradictory and conflicting within itself. When you say a relationship and when your friend asks you this question, the question itself is coming because it matters, isn't it?
Yes.
If you didn't matter, you could have just forgotten about it and gone on like old pair of shoes. But it matters because you invested your thought, your emotion and maybe even your body. Once you've invested these three things, there is a profound sense of memory about that. If you create a lot of contradictory memory in your system, you will see life will tell later that you will have everything but you feel like you have nothing because it's confused and it's joyless, it doesn't have exuberance. It's very important young people understand the mechanism of what you have been given. If this was just a lump of flesh, you could have done whatever the hell you want with it, but this is a very sophisticated machine. If you treat it sensitively, it can do things in a phenomenal way, otherwise it'll do mediocre things. Suppose I gave you, let's say you know nothing about computers, I gave you, let's say, Apple Air. Have you seen this model?
Yeah.
Very thin and sharp. I gave you this, but you don't know what it is. You took it home and started chopping cucumbers. It works very well. It works very well. But isn't it a tragedy that you're using a computer to chop cucumber? Nothing wrong with a cucumber, but something definitely wrong with you, isn't it?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes.
Something very fundamentally wrong with you when you do not understand the significance of what you have on your hands. All significant things will go waste. So, before not just other human beings, I'm saying before you touch, involve yourself in anything, you must see what is the level of involvement you wish. You must see where do you want to take this. You must also see what are the different impacts it'll have upon you, whether this will work well for this life or work against this life. You must consider. Otherwise, you will become a lose life. Lose, I'm not using the word lose in terms of morality, I'm just talking about lose in terms of not able to fulfill the direction in which you wish to go in your life. Bringing some integrity to this, intellectual integrity, emotional integrity and physical integrity to your life is very, very important. Well, beyond that, if something goes wrong, you just have to understand when you came alone, when you were born, you came alone, and when you die, you will go alone.
Thank you so much.